All right, this is going to show how to use the rotary cutter. I'm just demonstrating the samples that you guys are going to cut in class. So you're going to have a little scrap like this, and then you obviously always need the mat, the ruler, and then a rotary cutter. If you are left-handed, there's going to be a rotary cutter in the bin that has fabric tied to it. So I'm going to demonstrate right-handed rotary cutting, and then I can help any lefties in class. So you always want to start, no matter what your scrap of fabric looks like, you always want to start with a fold. We don't have any smooth edges here to work with, and so the first thing you need to do is what we call squaring off the right side. And so to do that, always just start with a fold against your body. So I have it just on the bottom of the mat. And also, while we're looking at the mat, if this grid is going to bother you because we look at the numbers on the ruler, I like to put that down so that that doesn't distract me. So then I just have a nice clean space to work with. So I have the fold against my body. That's how I always want to start. Again, no matter the size and shape of your scrap of fabric. So then we're going to bring our ruler and we're just going to set it right over top of the right side. So all I need to do is I just want a smooth edge. So I just need to even this out here. So to do that, I'm not counting or measuring anything just yet, but you do need to line it up on a line on the ruler. So we are looking at the ruler. You can't just set it on there and cut because it's not going to be straight. So what you're going to do is just look through the ruler and pick one of these lines to line up along the fold. Again, if the fold is lined up, then your perpendicular cut that you're going to make is going to be nice and straight and a good angle to start with. So I'm not measuring anything. I'm just lining up across here on the fold, and this, I'm going to cut this off, and so it'll make it nice and even. So with my left hand, I keep my thumb tucked in, and I'm going to just use kind of like a claw hold on the ruler to keep it moving. If you use your hand like this, it kind of wiggles too much. So, and this will just take some practice. So I usually kind of spread it out. And then I've got a lot of weight in this left hand. We do not want the ruler to move. Okay, so then we are going to take our blade, push that down, and then we're going to start with the blade up against the ruler below your fabric. Okay, so I just have it flush with the ruler below the fabric, and I just want one nice smooth motion from bottom to top. So I've got lots of pressure in both hands, and I'm just going to bring that up. And then at the top, I want to retract for safety because those blades are very sharp. And then before you move anything, I like to keep my hand here so that the ruler doesn't move, just in case it didn't cut. And then that way I can go back through and make another cut. Okay, so once you make that cut, then you always want to turn the mat to the left. So now we can actually start measuring. So I'm going to turn it all the way. I didn't touch the ruler. You want to turn the mat so that it doesn't move you don't want to move your fabric because you just made a nice clean cut. So now I can start measuring. So the first number in the samples up there, so sample number 1, we have a 6" by 5 3/4. I'm just going to start with the biggest number, which is 6. And so I have my ruler sitting on the left side of my fabric, but I'm going to start from right to left counting. This is where it kind of gets confusing. We're used to kind of reading the opposite way. But I'm going to start, and each box is an inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually the width of the ruler. And then I'm just going to bring that and line that up all the way down on the left side here. Okay. I can line that up because I know that that is straight. So again, I'm going to make that cut. Keep your lots of pressure in your left hand. Bring the blade down, kind of make it flush with the ruler below, and then lots of pressure so you only have one cut. You never want to saw back and forth. You never want to come from top to bottom. You don't want to cut sideways. It's always from bottom to top. So I want to retract, and then before I move this hand, make sure that cut, and it did. Okay, so now from here to here is 6 inches. But we need to cut the 5 3/4. So I'm just gonna turn it and open it up. But we never squared off the two short sides. So I'm gonna back up a little bit, and I just want to square off that right side because I need something to work from because it's not straight. So now that that's straight, so again, after we square off, we move the mat, turn it all the way around to the left, and now we can do that second number, which is 5 3/4. So I'm gonna start from the right and count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3/4. So there's 1/4. There would be a half or 2/4. And so then there is 3/4. So this third yellow line here. So I'm just lining this up all the way down. I'm looking through the ruler, lining that up, and that's nice and straight. Okay, always measure twice, cut once. And then go ahead and make your cut. So then this would be the first sample. Set that aside. You're going to turn that in. So now the second one, we don't have to square anything off because we know we've already done that. So I'm just going to take my piece. That's going to be 4 7/8 by 3 1/2. So I'm going to bring it back vertical because we know we have a 6-inch strip, but we don't need 6 anymore. We'll do the 4 7/8. So I'm going to bring that back vertical, set my ruler back on top on the left, and then I can just do my counting. We don't need to square anything off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7/8. Each of the little hash marks is going to be an 1/8. So you can count over 7, or obviously just do the 1 before the 5th inch. And so you're lining up all the way down. Check it all the way, and we are good. And then same procedure. So that's our first number. We're gonna turn our fabric, that's our squared off edge, so that goes on the left. And then we can set our ruler on top and do the second number, which is 3 1/2. So 1, 2, 3, and then a half would be 2 of those quarter marks. So we're looking through the ruler, that's lined up. Make that cut. And that is sample number 2. So we'll set that aside. Now for the third one, we're looking at 3 1/4 by 2 inches. So I'm gonna again bring this back vertical because we need to first make it the correct width. So I put my ruler on the left, and so this is gonna be 3 1/4. So 1, 2, 3 1/4. So I'm gonna line that up all the way down and make that cut. Oops. I'm gonna go again. You can see that I didn't have my blade flush with the ruler, so always make sure, because then that's gonna throw everything off. So I need to go back through, which is a good thing I didn't move my left hand. So I'm gonna go back and just shave that off so that it's nice and even. So double check that. And it doesn't want to cut. Go one more time. There we go. Okay, so that is our first number, 3 1/4. So we turn it again, put the ruler on, set it on the left side, and the last number is 2. So just an even 2 inches. So we count over 2 boxes, line that up, make that cut. And so these would be the 3 samples that you're gonna turn in. I'm gonna measure these to make sure they're accurate. So if it didn't go well, you can measure them first before you turn them in. If for some reason your measurements aren't correct, then grab another scrap and start over because you wanna make sure that they are correct. This is gonna take a lot of practice, but you'll get it. So go ahead and pin those together and make sure your name is on it, just write with a pen and turn those in.